What's going on, people? Welcome back to another Drake RX and Vlogs, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on the channel. So today's match: Forest versus Spurs. Forest 3, Spurs 0. And to be honest, the scoreline flattered me. It's not that to say we deserve to lose by 3-0, but we should have lost by more than just 3-0 against Forest today. Because the performance from all the players were just subpar at best. And if you look at it, even though we kept the same lineup like we did against Prague and Brentford, however, the way Forest were pressing, winning their balls, taking their chances, as well as creating opportunities, they should have deserved to be winning this game. Apart from only one shot on target, we didn't really do anything to disrupt Forest's clean sheet, or at least try to score a goal. And we deserved to lose in the end. Particularly, all of these goals that we conceded against Forest were a result of gaps between our midfield and our defense, as well as a bit of poor goalkeeping on the end. And on that fault, we just gave Forest their first home clean sheet this season, as well as Lamb score free on us. That is embarrassing. But against the match today, after the first 5 minutes after the kickoff, things were starting to go south for us because Forest were even taking the chances to test our keeper after 5 minutes. We were just allowing them to cross into the box and allowing their defenders or midfielders to get attempts on goal. Again, not terrible communication from our defense and our midfield. However, they still continued to attack us after 5 minutes. They continued attacking us, creating chances on goal that they should have been at least 2 or 3-0 up if they had converted their chances. Thankfully, Vicario was able to save some of their chances. However, when we conceded the first goal against Forest, again, don't know what Vicario was doing in the back when he was getting pressured. He should have just kicked it up high, kicked the long ball. However, he did a stupid pass out at the back from Gray, and Gray immediately buckled under pressure when Sangare was pressuring him. And after that, it was just an easy tap in for Hudson-Odoi, who was at first pressuring Vicario before he eventually scored the opener. Again, terrible mistake from the back. Vicario should at least kicked it out wide or kicked out to one of the fullbacks instead of just doing a short pass out of the back to Gray, because that was a terrible mistake. And if that mistake didn't happen, we still should have conceded at least 2 or 3 goals. But again, terrible mistake out of the back from Vicario. And we were lucky to go into halftime with 1-0 down. Forest still continued to attack. Had chances from Gibbs White, Williams, Sangare, and a lot of chances. The only chance we had to at least try to equalize was a nice shot from Gray towards the end of the first half. However, the keeper from Forest saved it. That was our only chance we could have gone back in this game, and our only shot of the target. We literally only had a single shot on target, and less than 10 shots in total throughout the entire match, despite us having more possession. Forest can continue to attack. After second half kicked off, to be honest, I was surprised we didn't even make any changes, because no one on the team played well in the first half. From our defense, our midfield, and our attack, they did nothing. The only attacking option we had was literally our own DM, as well as passes going out to Kudus. I didn't see anything from Richie. I saw something from Colomani, but here again it was quiet. Simmons went back to, despite having two good performances the last two games, he went back to the Dutch Jaden Smith from Karate Kid settings. I could not see him out the entire game. He didn't do nothing to create the chances, and he was also losing balls when he had the opportunity to use it. A lot of people were just winning balls off of him. However, in the second half, Forrest still continued to attack. He still continued to set back, which was surprising because we played with a back four. But however, we went back to park the bus default settings again at Forrest, who are actually struggling this season and changed managers twice already this season. Then the second goal we conceded, Hudson-Odoi was making a good example of Portal. We should have done better to close them down and defend, as well as our midfielders and our defense should have done better to close Hudson-Odoi. He did a cross from the left-hand side, and to be honest, that was actually a good goal. It went straight in the net. Vaccaro should have done better to keep it out. But even if Vaccaro couldn't have saved it, there's no excuse for our defenders to not cover, or at least close him down, at least to prevent him from at least taking a cross or taking a nice shot from outside the box. Good goal by Hudson-Odoi, who scored twice against us already. Again, terrible defending from Portal, not able to track his man and close him down properly. And immediately after we conceded, I'm surprised we brought on a defender. Yep, you heard me, a defender. Going 2-0 down and chucking on a defender and a midfielders. Yes, I know Bergvall can come out and can do something, at least try to change the game, but why the hell we bring on a washed left back in Davis when we're chasing the game 2-0 down? Then again, Forrest continued to do the same thing like they did. They didn't even their backline didn't even have a problem to deal with our attack because our attack was scared, wasn't brave enough to go into their box and at least try to test their keeper. So their backline was just chilling, as well as their defense and their midfielders. And at this point, we just looked like we never wanted to get back in the game. We just gave up in this case, and I think Frank made terrible substitutions, and the way he set up to park the bus, even though we had a back four, just didn't work in this case. And then the third goal we conceded, again, no one that midfield marking Senger's run, as well as a cross from their Forest winners. It just gave him space, and he took a first-time shot and went straight in the back of the net. And that which killed the game off, 3-0 down in the end. And if Gibbs White had taken his free kick that we conceded late on, we would have lost the game 4-0. If he had took his free kick well, we would have lost 4-0 to Forest. Yep. Other than that, we just never looked like attacking. We're just afraid of trying to test the keeper, and our midfield and our defense are still non-existent. They're not communicating well, and we've conceded 3 goals. And to be honest, we're lucky we lost 3-0 today. This could have been more of a mauling, to be honest, 4, 5, or 6-0, because the chances we're keep on giving Force, if they converted their chances appropriately, this would have been a mauling. However, we were lucky we lost 3-0 again. Even though, like I said, 3-0 is still a bad score. It shows how terrible we are. And at this point, Liverpool are basically very excited going into next Saturday because we are hosting them, and you can laugh at them all I want, but they're starting to get back. They're starting to slowly click back into form, and I assume when we're playing against Liverpool, we're going to try parking the bus, and once they score their first goal against us, it's basically like a domino effect. Just crumble under pressure. Yep. And hopefully this winter, we need to get. Do need to see a lot of money spent, a good amount of money spent, because again, we had two good performances the last two games, but however, this performance and the others before those two performances, they've not been sufficient enough. They're not good enough. Specifically, some players just have been performing bang average or worse. So we need to get some players in for both midfield and defense, because, and as well as our attack, because if our attack can't score or at least try to help out to get the goals, and where our defense and midfield is leaking goals, there is a problem with us. And we need to get some new players in as soon as possible, because next year we got Villa in the FA Cup, and it's not going to be an easy match because, funny enough, they kicked us out last year in the FA Cup, even though it was at their own ground. But yeah, we need to fix up immediately. That was a disgraceful performance from the entire team. Frank's tactics and substitutions were also a disgrace. Don't know why he chucked on a defender when we were chasing the game 2-0 down against Forest. And yeah, if we perform like that, we're going to get banged up by Liverpool. Not to mention, got Palace next. We have to go to Brentford again. Then Bournemouth is our first game in January. So it's going to be a long, long winter season ahead for us. We can't even play like that. And everyone, basically all the players stunk out today. I don't think everyone played good. The only one that actually played well, even though for me he actually played poor, was Vicario and Gray. I didn't see anything from our attack. I didn't see any stability in our midfield, as well as stability in our defense. We're just giving Forest too many chances, and luckily, even though Vicario conceded free, two of the goals were from where the goals that he could have prevented himself. However, he did save a lot of chances that Forest have gotten for both the first and second half that we could have been a lot more than just 3-0 down by the end of this game. Yeah, but however, unfortunately, it is what it is. We have to we have to host Liverpool this Saturday, and this game against Forest is probably one of the worst performances I've seen, aside from Bournemouth, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Yeah, a long season ahead of us. Again, terrible defending from our team. We just allowed Forest to attack and never close down their winners in this case. But yeah, a long season ahead from us. Thanks everyone for watching this match, and I'm out. Another disgraceful performance, another one of the worst performances I've seen this season so far. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'm out. Peace.